there's actually three things we've done that we're updating our stakeholders on, and one of them is what's called a pre-sales package. And this is a very technical document that outlines a lot about the technology, but in a way that protects our IP, and it talks about the economic advantages.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. Joining me now is Alex Holmes. He is the Chief Operating Officer for Nano One Materials Corp. And Alex, good to have you back again. How are you?
I'm well, Steve. Thank you for having us back.
Yeah, so really interesting news release out from the company touching on a number of different things. And one of those is this alliance you had with Worley Chemetics. So maybe start there. Tell me a bit about this partnership and some of the work that was being done.
Absolutely. So about 6 months ago, we struck a strategic alliance with Worley. It's one of the world's largest battery materials engineering firm with a global footprint. And our alliance is all about developing a design one, build many plant layout or production line layout of our one pot technology, and using that to then sell to target customers.
Yeah, and so that design work is now complete. So you're fairly happy with where you're heading?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the best way to think about this is these are building blocks towards sales. So it's really important that as we progress the alliance activities, we've got a series of deliverables that are part of that that all lead up to getting that customer win, if you will.
Yeah, and those packages are being sent out to certain clients that you're targeting, and that's the key to this is this technology, this one pot technology really works well with a number of industries, but specific clients that you want to target.
Yeah, so we've there's actually three things we've done that we're updating our stakeholders on, and one of them is what's called a pre-sales package. And this is a very technical document that outlines a lot about the technology, but in a way that protects our IP, and it talks about the economic advantages. And this allows the target customers that we're engaging in conversations with to make a fairly robust business decision around how they'd like to proceed.
Yeah, and what are the other things that are listed in there as well?
So recently we completed, as part of this activity, a cost comparison study. And so we worked with Worley. We'd already done quite a fair bit of engineering work, as you know from the past, on our one pot technology. And this cost comparison identifies the economic advantages as well as some of the other key value propositions, if you will. So we've not only identified through this work that compared to the alternative process, we're about 30% better on capital costs, up to 30% better on operating costs. And then some of the other kind of, I think, super important, but maybe less understood benefits are 80% less energy usage. So why is this important? Is there's not an abundance of power in these low cost jurisdictions where plants are looking to be set up. So that's a key advantage. Much less process water. Again, a lot of these low cost jurisdictions have a lack of available water. So this is important. And then the third thing is the removal of the waste stream, the sodium sulfate waste stream. So this is a problematic waste stream that needs to be handled and treated in some fashion. Because our one pot technology doesn't have it, this is yet another advantage that our customer set gets to benefit from.
Yeah. So Alex, what's the next stages here? Obviously, this work has been done. Now you're moving on to the next set of work that you have to do. So what can people expect the rest of this year and into next?
Well, I think maybe just one more thing I wanted to add, Steve, is about the design one, build many philosophy. That part of that is the plant layout. So the optimized plant layout that we've developed with Worley. It's again, consider that a building block. These are modular plant layout designs, enabling a customer to perhaps start with one production line and then grow from there. And these are designed in a way, roughly 25,000 ton LFP building blocks, and they're designed with operability and maintainability in mind. And this is an often forgotten value component of any plant operator. Any industrial player wants to be able to ensure uptime and maximum efficiency of their plant. So that's key. And as we look forward to next steps, we're really building off the playbook that Worley Chemetics has been using for the last 60 years. So we're not reinventing the wheel here. Worley Chemetics, which is part of the Worley Strategic Alliance, is a 60-year-old company based here in BC that has a large proportion of the different petrochemical plant markets. And they've had a tremendous amount of success in design, engineer, build, and deliver plants using the same method that we're following here.
And one last thing I want to ask you about, Alex, is you have received a lot of support from governments, and that's obviously a key thing, especially when you're looking at funding moving forward into 2025.
No, thanks, Steve. I think it is really important to remind ourselves that we've got a tremendous amount of support from both the U.S. government and the Canadian governments. In 2024, and in the last few months, we've secured over $20 million in grant that really helps us with our activities in terms of expanding our Candiac facility and doing the work really to target the energy storage market, the defense market, and the industrial player market. The automotive market is still a very large market, but we see those other three markets as nearer term wins for us in terms of the pace at which those markets accelerate. And then I think we can't forget about our tremendous support from our industrial partners that own shares in Nano One, Sumitomo Metal Mining, very large integrated player in the space, as well as Rio Tinto Iron and Mining. So I think if you look at that as a whole, 24 has been a tremendous success. And bringing in that last bit of government support a couple of months ago is also a big win as we move forward.
Absolutely. Busy 25 ahead for sure. Alex, thanks so much. Great to see you again, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Steve. Take care.
All right, Alex Holmes. He's the Chief Operating Officer for Nano One Materials Corp.